Over the years, archaeologists have occasionally been fortunate to excavate below the rows to find some remarkable lost treasures. A team of archaeologists unearthed 2,000 years of human life from under one property in Bridge Street. Liz Montgomery from the Grosvenor Museum has brought a small selection of artefacts from the dig to show Katherine Wilson.
Some of these objects have come from right here, just next to us actually, at 25 Bridge Street. We went all the way back to Roman times there, so this is part of a small Roman inscription that was found on the site. But we also have lots of material that came from the Middle Ages, from medieval times, and right the way through into the 18th century as well. So we've got beautiful gold rings inscribed. We've got this lovely medieval shoe which has been preserved. And then we've got this lovely stoneware jug which has come all the way from Germany.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's just like these thousands of years of people living and working and trading here in the Rows that is in these objects. Do you have a particular favourite object?
Well, I do really like this shoe. I like anything that tells you about people. And this shoe is particularly lovely. It was found in a waterlogged area, which is why it's still preserved. So we don't normally get leather preserved a lot around here. But it's so nice because you can see all the different parts of the shoe that have been stitched together, and you can even see the shape of the medieval person's foot who wore it moulded into that soft leather there. So I like anything with a story like that. So do you have a favourite object?
Yeah, I do. It's this gold ring that was excavated from Chester, and it's really amazing because it's associated with the cult of the Three Kings in Cologne, so it has really international connections.
Many more artefacts were found at 25 Bridge Street and are now stored at the Grosvenor Museum. And one find so bizarre and fragile that it's safer to view it in the museum.
This is one of the most unusual objects that we found probably ever in one of the excavations in Chester. It's actually an elephant's leg bone, so not the sort of thing you'd expect to find in the centre of Chester.
The bone may belong to an elephant that was exhibited in Henry III's royal menagerie at the Tower of London in 1255. But how did the bone find its way to Chester?
There are a range of explanations for it. Probably the most likely is that it was kept by a member of the family who lived in that particular Rose property as a curiosity in the medieval period and later. People used to keep sort of cabinets of curiosity, so it may have formed part of that, and then at some point they decided they didn't need it anymore, and it's been put into a pit to the back of the property.
But objects don't need to be centuries old, of course, to be deemed precious. A few doors down from the archaeological site, it's still possible to see a modern treasure only created relatively recently.
This piece that we have here is actually one of the last pieces to ever be hallmarked in Chester in 1962. And what's really nice about it is actually stamped with John and Joyce Lowe's personal hallmark as well, that it was designed by them and then also crafted and hallmarked in Chester. It's quite rare to find these pieces now. There'll only be a handful of them left, but it's really nice to have something that is the most recent and of the last of the Chester hallmarks.
Perhaps the most intriguing and precious treasures associated with the Rose are now sadly lost forever. In 1863, Victorian antiquarians unearthed the preserved remains of the monumental legionary bathhouse under the Rose during clearance of old buildings. Columns and hypocausts of the huge Roman exercise hall still standing after nearly 2,000 years. Even more fantastic was the discovery in 1909 of beautiful Roman mosaics dating to when the bathhouse was first built in about AD 74. The mosaics depicted the remains of sea creatures that archaeologists now believe to be hippocamps or mythical seahorses. A wonderful detailed reconstruction of the seahorse mosaic can be found at the Roman Gardens in Chester. Unfortunately, the original mosaics experienced an unknown fate, but the evidence of their existence has fortunately been captured. But who knows what exciting new things will surface in the future? One authoritative expert estimates that 90% of archaeological treasures still lie beneath the surface of Chester and the Rose, so these extraordinary places may still have some surprises in store for us. Below, behind and within the wealth of shops and other myriad businesses that line these very special and completely unique split-level streets. It's also reassuring to know that every year millions of visitors are drawn to the medieval and modern marvels that are Chester's Rose. And long may they reign. If you have a special personal treasure, memory or photograph related to the Rose, please feel free to share it with us on our Facebook page.